Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, mi gente? Happy Tuesday. It's your girl, Idylli, and you are on live with the Speak Easy with Idylli show every Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST. And I just want to share my gratitude before anything and to tell you how thankful I am that you guys show up here every single week and spend your time with me and my guests. It means the world to us. We're super honored, super thankful that you could be anywhere, but you come on the Speak Easy with Idylli show. You support, you share, you like, you comment, and that means everything. Thank you so, so much. I am so excited. As you know, we have a special guest on. But before I do, I want to make some announcements. First off, the Empower You event was amazing. Oh, mi gente, listen, if you missed it, I'm so sorry. At the end of the day, we get to choose to love to really be in community. And the Empower You event was incredible. But it won't be the last time that I'm doing this. It will be back by popular demand sooner than you think. It is time for us to grow to the next level. We can't keep waiting around. December's right around the corner. I promise y'all, before you know it, Mariah Carey, you gonna hear it. Don't wanna. I'm telling you, it's summer break, and I know Mariah Carey is already in the back of our minds because it's coming. So I'm definitely gonna do it again. Okay. The Empower You event was an incredible event. Remember, I help women be unapologetically who they are while growing into who they're meant to become. Yes. Yes. And so the next Empower You event, don't miss it. If you missed it, don't miss it. If you attended, trust me, you want to come to part 2 because it's going to be even juicier. All right. And I'm really, really excited for that. And so next Tuesday, of course, we're also going to have another guest. And what we did was I definitely wanted to give shout outs to our dads. So the next 2 sessions, this session and the next session, we are definitely giving shout out to our dads because Sunday was Father's Day. And I hope everyone had an amazing, amazing Father's Day. All you dads out there, listen, the world will have you believing that we don't need our men. You know how much I heard growing up? Oh, man ain't, y'all could finish the sentence. That's a lie. While some, that may be true, at the end of the day, it's true for all humans. And we do need our men. We love our men. We love our dads. We love our fathers who are getting up every day and they're going to work and they're waiting to, trying to put food on the table and they're hustling and they're out there trying to make it and they want better for their kids. Okay? So we get to choose to love on them. And I hope you had a fabulous, fabulous Father's Day weekend. And with that being said, I'm definitely super honored to bring on our guest, Mr. Aaron. I'm not going to say his last name because I don't want to mess it up, y'all. I'm going to have him say it. Aaron, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for asking. Can you say your last name for me? I want to make sure I don't mess it up.
It's DeVries.
DeVries.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you. Perfect. Well, welcome to the show, Aaron. I'm super excited to have you on here. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yay. Awesome. I love that so much. Make sure that if you're watching on the replay, ladies and gentlemen, that you tag us and let us know you're watching on the replay. If you're watching live, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're really excited. So, Aaron, kind of the way we start things on here is just where are you from? Who are you? Where did you grow up? Do you have brothers and sisters? What's your family life like?
I'm from Austin, Minnesota. I currently live in Austin, Minnesota, which is Spam Town, USA. So, if you heard of Spam, the lunch meat, I live in the town where they make Spam. So, born and raised in Minnesota. My parents have been married my entire life. They got married a year before I was born. They're still married. I have a younger sister and a younger brother. And I have two children. Been divorced for around 10 years, and like I said, lived in Minnesota my whole life.
Okay. And so you didn't tell us your age, but your parents have been together how long?
They've been together 48 years, so I'm 47. So,
Wow.
yep,
What a blessing. Congratulations to them. Let them know that the Speak Easy community congratulates them and wishes them many, many more.
I
Okay.
will do
That
that.
is incredible. That is incredible. And so you say you've been divorced once, but you have two children. How old are your
Yep.
children?
My children are 22 and 21. They're 15 months apart.
Okay. Okay. And you say you're from Minnesota. You still live there? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, I still
You're
live.
in
I'm
Minnesota.
born and raised, still live here.
Okay. Awesome. So how's the weather? It's hot.
Right now I think it was like 85 and humid, so probably I don't know.
Okay.
Feels like around 90, but we can get the 120, heat index in the summer, negative 60 wind chill in the winter, so we get it all here.
And that's why I said that, because most people are like, "Oh, it's so cold over there," but they don't realize it gets hot.
It gets hot,
It
yeah.
gets really hot too, right? So you get
Yep,
like both, right?
yep,
But you do have the fall,
that's
which
true.
I'm jealous of, because the
Yep,
fall's beautiful, isn't it?
yep. We get all the seasons here, which is nice. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the fall's beautiful. We don't get that here. You're either really hot or it's cold. Like there ain't no in between.
What's
There is
what
no.
what's cold for you though?
Oh yeah, let me rephrase that. So our Florida code is like 50.
Yeah.
50's cold. You
Yep.
know, I know that you guys come from Minnesota in your shorts in the
Yep.
50s over here, and you guys are looking at us crazy in our hats. Listen, if it's 50 in Tampa, if it's 40 and we gotta go out in the morning,
Yep.
kids, get your gloves, get your jackets, get it together. Let's go. But
Well,
the funny
I
thing
was
is,
actually down there in early first week of February in Tampa. We flew from like I don't even know what it was. I think it was actually warmer here than it was there. I think we landed. It was like 50 or 60. Everybody was like in what we consider heavy jackets, and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like, whoa, this is weird.
see, I'm not lying. You see,
No,
I'm
you're
not
not.
lying. If you're watching and you're from another state, I'm not lying when I say
Nope.
that he literally experienced it.
Yep.
That's so funny. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm from Chicago. I remember
Okay.
we had to wear snowsuits. I lived my
Yep.
elementary years there. My mom didn't
Yep.
have a car. So we would have walk. And I remember my feet were just in the snow.
Yep.
We had to wear snowsuits. When we got to school, we would take them all off and our
Yep.
uniform would be under. You know what I mean? Like I definitely remember that. But when you live here so long, you
Right.
adapt pretty quickly.
Yep.
Right. So
For sure.
40s to us is like freezing. Like, oh
Yeah, I
no.
understand.
What?
Yep.
So, okay, so you're in Minnesota. So you're a dad of two amazing children. You have two boys, or did you say that already?
My oldest is a son, and my youngest is a daughter.
Okay, and how old are your kids?
22 and 21.
22 and 21.
Yep.
Wow. So you're kind of empty nester, huh?
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been nice. Yeah, mine are older, so I don't have to deal with that. I have cousins who are just starting to have kids, so I'm kind of the older generation of the family, and now I have cousins with young kids. So I'm kind of glad I'm over that part though.
Yeah, me too. I say for some reason 40 is like a weird age. I feel like in my 40s, I have friends that are first time moms, then I have friends that are grandmas, and then I
Yep.
have friends that are empty nesters. Like
Right.
they're all three.
Everybody, yep.
They're all three. I'm like, which one? I mean, I'm literally in my 40s and I have an 8-year-old, so I get
Okay.
it. Sometimes, but I also have a 20 and 17.
Sure.
So sometimes when I'm ironing clothes at 7:30 in the morning, I think, what were we thinking? I would have
Right.
been done. Like
Been done, yep.
I'm still ironing uniform, second grade. I got,
Right.
so many grades to go. But okay, so welcome. But I do want to talk about what do you do before we get into that? What is it that you do?
So what I do is I help families navigate the special education process. So my daughter has a disability, so in that world, we're helping those families navigate that system, which is, if you haven't experienced it, it's completely, I call it like a parallel universe to the regular school system. It's just a lot of different rules, laws, in order for her to get what she needs to succeed in school.
So at what age was your daughter diagnosed?
She was diagnosed at 3 months old with epilepsy, having seizures. So kind of everything started from there. And, she, knock on wood, I should knock on wood, hasn't had a bad seizure for quite a while now, so it's going a lot better with the seizures at this point.
Wow. Okay. And so you've always had to advocate for her
Yep.
entire school life, right?
Yes.
Because
So yeah,
especially back then.
yeah,
Mhm.
she started, within the school system, early childhood, so before like preschool age. So yeah, preschool through the whole school system. Yeah, I was there advocating for her, helping her get what she needed to succeed.
Mm. And I can see that because at the end of the day, especially back in the days, there wasn't really a lot of things in place, right? It was
Right.
almost like, oh, we don't know, we just don't want to deal with it. We'll sweep it under the rug,
Yeah.
and it was hard. It's hard for parents with kids who have disabilities. I have a friend of mine that's in the community, in the SpeakEasy community, who, is struggling kind of with the same things. Like her daughter's a teenager and she's had disabilities since she was a kid. And, there's a whole process. And yeah, now there's homeschool, but even still, that's a
Right.
process, because of everything. And so, it's definitely difficult. So the fact that you said, okay, I'm going to help families do that. I want to help families get to that next level. What does that look like? What does that look like exactly? How did it come about? I mean, I know it wasn't just from one day to the next. How did that come about?
So yeah, I kind of started. I mean, I didn't know anything about disability, anything about special education, so I learned a lot of stuff on my own. I mean, I did attend, like different classes or conferences to learn more, but just a lot of learning stuff on my own. I mean, the school doesn't tell you everything. In my experience, I don't think it was on purpose they didn't tell you everything, but there's just stuff they don't tell you. So after digging into stuff, finding stuff, the school wasn't doing how I thought they should be doing it. I, started asking questions, talking to other parents, and, a lot of parents just don't understand it like I didn't. And I just want to help parents, navigate the process. Just my son was in regular education, so you kind of base your experience on that, and then my daughter, I'm in special ed, so I'm going on how it went for him. Well, then all of a sudden, like you go to a meeting, you expect it to be like that. It's not like that. So just helping
Mm,
parents navigate that. I just have other, I talk about inclusion is a big thing. You can see it on my shirt, including people with
mm,
disabilities. I talk about it. Friends, families will come to me and ask me questions about it. So I thought I'd start coaching other families, going to meetings with them. The meetings that we have for special education are kind of intimidating, daunting. So just having somebody there that can sit with you and ask questions, pay attention, know what's going on, has been a really big help for me when we used it. So just wanted to share with other families and help them navigate the process.
And let me tell you what a big help that is, because you're right. It's enough. Even maybe some of the kids may have just been diagnosed in second, third grade, whatever the
Yep.
disability is. It's enough to have to handle and, deal with that emotion part of it. Then you're getting all this information thrown at you, or,
Right.
teacher this is that, this is the rules. And then you're like, no, wait a minute. You want your child to be included. I mean, even something small as speech therapy. My nephew went to speech therapy, and
Sure.
I sat in there with my sister while
Okay.
she was in the meeting. And
Yep.
yes, they're like saying some jargon, some things that you don't even
Right.
understand. And you're like, wait a
Right.
minute, is he going to pass? Is he going to fail? What do you mean? Are you going to take him out of class? Like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? Right? Like, you
Yep.
don't understand what that means. And so to be able to have an advocate like that, that is an incredible thing that you do, Aaron. I want you to know that and
Thank you.
understand, helping families in this when they're in the most vulnerable, stressful time in their life
Right.
is definitely a huge big deal. And so you came up with the inclusive dad, huh?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah,
I
the
love
inclusive dad.
I love that name so much. You guys, that's the website. Go and check it out. If you have any questions, make sure you comment, you like, you share. If you know someone who may need this type of help, make sure that you check out the site. But I want to know, how did you come up with that name?
That's a great question. There isn't really a big good story attached to it. There's another dad on the social media called the Autism Dad, so I think I kind of patterned it after him. His son has autism. Talks about all things autism. So just my thing is inclusion, being inclusive. So I went with the inclusive dad. But
Okay.
I have inclusion tattooed on my arm. Where is it? So I have
Mm,
it tattooed on my arm. I've given 2 TEDx talks on inclusion, so inclusion is my thing.
okay. And when you say inclusion is your thing, what does that mean?
what does that mean? So my daughter, when she went into like kindergarten, first grade, she was sent across town. Her brother was walking a block to school, to go to his neighborhood school. She was sent across town because that's where kids with her needs went to. Segregated setting. After that, found out about inclusion, being in your neighborhood school with your general education classmates. So just after that, fought to get her back in there. It took, I mean, it was slow. Once you're out of, the general education room, trying to get back in is a big fight. So slowly, but eventually through high school, right into high school, she was the most included, being in the general education as much as possible. So it's just, to me, the law is written so that, there's what you're supposed to start out trying, the child with a disability in the regular room. And then, if they need more supports, maybe do some pull out stuff, but especially for kids like my daughter with a lot of needs, the default for us and for others I've heard is just, you take them out, segregate them in their own classroom right away. So it's just, to me, it's not right. It's not the way it should be. And I just want her, her and others to be included, have the same opportunities, chances in life, that everybody else has.
Yes, I agree. And I want to say that inclusion is a big deal, right? And when a kid feels that they're not included at a young age, it
Yep.
really is a traumatizing
Right.
experience,
Right.
you know? And so this is something they take with them into adulthood. And this is where trauma starts. And, so much things
Yep.
happen just from not being included, And so you fighting for that is everything. I would ask, does your daughter realize, does she know like how much you fought for her and what you're doing now?
I mean, I think she does know that. I mean, we talk about it some. She knows I've given TEDx talks. Actually, I talked to her about. One of the stories I shared in my first TEDx talk I did was she was in choir. She loves music. Has always been in choir, singing at school, and her class, her choir at that time was doing a concert in a historic theater in town. But there was no way to get her wheelchair up on the stage. So in order for her to participate, I had to, pick her out of her wheelchair, carry her up on the stage, so she could participate. That was 10 years ago. I shared that story in my TEDx 10 years ago. Last Friday, I was in a meeting in town talking about, the excess ADA compliance for the organization that runs that theater. I introduced myself. A guy across the table from me said, "I remember you're the guy that carried his daughter up on the stage 10 years ago." So and I told her that story. She remembers it. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff I do, I talk about with her. So she understands it.
Wow, he remembered. Of
He
course, that's an
remembers.
unforgettable thing. Like I would remember that too. That is unforgettable that you carried her on the stage. And have they changed that?
So as of now, they haven't changed it, but they're about to do renovations. And part of that is, getting a way to get people with wheelchairs or other mobility needs up on the stage, and getting the handicap accessible bathrooms. It's a historic theater, so I mean, I
As far
understand it. I understand it.
as
There's a give and take in my mind. It's just, it's been 10 years, and it sounds like they're finally getting to it. So I mean, yeah, I didn't even, I was there. I was going to bring that up for them, and he said it before I even got to it. So that was something I
Mm,
was not expecting, but it was kind of a reminder of how, what we do in our life does affect people, even though you might not hear it right away. It does affect people. Bringing awareness to stuff, you need to do that, and you might not know in the moment how it's gonna what it's gonna do, but this is 10 years after, and he still remembered it, so that's pretty cool.
exactly. And here's the thing. So 10 years ago that happened.
Yep.
And then 10 years later, you're in the room seeing the changes. And then 10 years from now, when there's
Yep.
another little girl who wants
Right.
to get on stage and is unable to, she will have the access
Yep.
because of what happened 20 years ago,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
It may take a while, but just staying in faith and consistency and just being not giving up and just kind of,
Right.
just always making sure to follow up. And these things take place. The 20 years is better than never.
Yep.
That's what yeah, would we like it fast? Of course we
Right.
would, right? But at the end of the day, it's definitely doesn't work that way, and that's okay.
Right.
So let me ask you this. You've mentioned TEDx a couple of times, and so
Yep.
most people may not know what that is. Can you tell us what a TEDx talk is?
Sure. So, I mean, some people have heard of TED Talks. Those are the big ones where, Ken Robinson, all the, Simon Sinek have given TED Talks. TEDx is where like a town such as Austin puts on an event and has speakers come and you apply and then you get to speak. So that's I've applied to two of those. One in my hometown, Austin, and then another one this year in South Dakota, where I got my master's degree. So just you get up there with about five, I mean, between 5 and 10 other people, give your talk. It's put on YouTube. So I've done two of those.
Awesome. And how did that feel?
The first one was, for sure, top 10, maybe top five experiences in my life. I shared the story I just told you about carrying her up on stage, plus other stuff, and all of it was to do with her and her education in Austin. And I gave the talk in Austin, so I was verbally saying stuff out loud that I've never shared with people in public. So there's a lot of emotions attached to it. Got a standing ovation at the end of it, so I kind of got off stage and sat down, and kind of just all the emotions came out because it was very personal, emotional for me. So the second one was a little different. I mean, it's been 10 years I wanted to do one. It wasn't nearly that emotional, but it's still, I got choked up on stage. If they're both on YouTube, so if you Google my name, TEDx, my name, you can see them. I'm talking about inclusion, which is personal. I'm talking about my daughter, obviously, which is emotional. So it's pretty fun. Been pretty fun for me.
Yeah. So now that you've done these twice and you've gotten emotional, do you feel like this is a calling for you? Like, do you feel like this is something that you want to pursue?
Yeah, inclusion is I feel like that's my passion, my goal, what I want to share in this world. I just raising awareness, And the second talk I just did was more about like how taking personal responsibility, because I feel like a lot of my experience has been, the school isn't being inclusive. I get mad at them and then kind of blame them that they're not doing stuff. And now I'm more of taking the stance of, well, I can do things small or large in each of my days to make the world more inclusive. And if I spread that message and, get other people also making those small changes, it's going to grab hold and, make the world better. So just more of the personal responsibility, empathy. If you don't go up to somebody in a wheelchair and talk to them and get to know them, you're not going to know what they need or what they want, or that they're just a person like you. So just, that's my main message I want to spread now is, just talk to people, get to know them, do the little things to include them, ask them if they're sitting by themselves, do they want to come sit by you and eat? Hold doors open for people. Just, just, it doesn't have to be super spectacular and that kind of thing, just something small, include people. And my focus is obviously on disability, but at the same time, inclusion is global. It means include everybody, not just, people with disabilities. So anybody that doesn't look like you, act like you, think like you, we need to include everybody.
Right, right. I love that so much. And, it's a space where it's definitely a growing space. And at the end of the day, we get to choose to love to make sure that we're walking in our calling, right? Walking in our purpose, walking in our gifts. And it seems that this is a gift for you, right? It seems that you enjoy it, you do it naturally. So do you get nervous when you're on stage?
So the public speaking thing for me is not, that's not my thing, but I get very nervous. So that's, yeah. I feel like I'm getting better at it, doing more of these, being different, going live on Facebook, trying to talk more on video, but it's not natural for me at this point. So it's definitely, I get nervous.
Okay. And that's okay. I'm glad that you're honest. You know why? Because a lot of people feel like they see people up there and they're like, oh, they're so confident, right? They're so confident. They know exactly what they're doing, but they don't realize that they're nervous. They're scared too, right? It's just that they just doing it anyway.
Sure.
And so that definitely is, a big difference. And so I appreciate you definitely just being, honest and saying, hey, I get nervous, right?
Yep.
Now, you seem, pretty confident in the inclusion and the topic and, everything that you're doing in the inclusive dad. What do you want to happen with this in the next 5 years? Like, what would you like to see?
Honestly, that's a great question. I haven't got that completely figured out. I just want, like I said, just want to spread the message. I'd love to, have a community where we're talking about inclusion. We're sharing ways, today or this week, how we've made the world more inclusive, and just, getting that conversation out there. I mean,
Mm.
I mean, the law that made, allowed people with disabilities to go to schools, I think it's going to be 50 years old here next year, the following year. There's still, kids not being able to be in the regular classrooms. I mean, ADA for the accessibility stuff was early 90s, and we still have, I mean, the park that I walk through, am I going around the lake every day, doesn't have any handicap stalls in it. I mean, there should be
Mm.
legally at least one in the parking lot. So there's still sidewalks in our town. If we go to a different neighborhood we're not used to, we still get to the end of sidewalks. There's not curb cuts for my daughter to go down in her wheelchair. So
Wow.
people seeing stuff, need to bring it up, ask questions, and if we all start doing that, I'd love to see, not get rid of all the problems, in the next 5 years, but at least get a good conversation going, and start having changes happen.
I love that. I love that. Not seeing all the problems, but let's
Yeah,
get the conversation started, right? Let's
absolutely.
see
Yep.
how that goes. Let's talk about it, right? And that's
Yep.
exactly what this platform and social media is for. When we
Yep.
use social media and as a tool, and of course be social on it. That's why it's called social media, right? We want to be social. But at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, we get to choose to love to also use it as a tool to be able to grow our beliefs, our gifts, our
Yes.
purposes, our passions. And that's exactly what you're doing, Aaron. And I'm super super grateful that you came on here. You guys visit the website www.theinclusivedad.com. If you know anybody who is even doesn't even know, maybe their kid got recently diagnosed, or maybe they've been diagnosed but they don't know what to do, or they need extra help, definitely reach out to Aaron. He has this statement on his some of his bio, and I took this piece out because it says Aaron's impact extends far beyond his immediate community, inspiring others to join him in the pursuit of a more inclusive world. I love that comment so much, because at the end of the day, we get to choose to love to not have that worldly clique that you can't sit with me table, right?
Right. Yep.
And being inclusive is including everybody in that. It's one of the things I teach my kids all the time. Like, don't please don't ever be that person that sees somebody alone and doesn't say something, right? You
Right.
never know, especially with suicide rate the way it
Right.
is. If some people are just included,
Yep.
that that would make a big difference.
For sure.
So I love that you have it tattooed. I love your impact. I love everything that you're saying. I wish you many blessings on your journey. When's the next TEDx talk? Can we expect that anytime soon?
I haven't really thought about that yet. Maybe we'll see in maybe another 10 years, maybe before, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I think before. I think
Before?
before.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Or even a podcast.
That's funny you say that. I'm talking to some people now to maybe get one going. So,
Yes. It's
yeah,
not funny. It's alignment.
that's true.
It's
Alignment. There
not a
you
coincidence. I didn't know that. I'm just saying what I
go.
would like to hear. You know what I mean? So, like,
Sure.
that is alignment. So,
There
I
you go.
hope that y'all heard it here first on the SpeakEasy with Idylli show. So, when the Inclusive Dad podcast comes out
There we
and
go.
it's everywhere, just know that you heard it here first on the SpeakEasy
Yes,
with Idylli show. Okay. Aaron, if
absolutely.
you had one more thing that you can say to the people out there, one more nugget, let's say it's literally you have 5 minutes to tell the one person that you love the most one thing that they should know before you'll never speak to them again. What would that be?
I mean, one of the things that I mean, just if you see somebody that's different than you, see somebody in a wheelchair, go up to them, talk to them, ask them their name, ask them questions, make them included. There's been several times, when when you go to the doctor, they ask you, what's your name, what's your birthday. Well, more than once when I've gone with my daughter in her wheelchair, they look at me and ask those questions. Don't do that. Be the person that asks her what her name is and her birthday. She can say it. Not everybody can, but if they can't, the parents would love, or the person with them would love to share it, but at least ask them first. Presume that they're competent, presume they can, give those answers. That's a good nugget for you.
Wow, that's so good. Well, first off, I know we were about to wrap, but that's important and that's a great nugget because you're right. They do ask, like, yes, give them the respect as
Yep.
a human, as an adult, as a kid, whatever.
Yep.
Like, give them that respect, and so I do have some people on Instagram asking for your Instagram handle. I definitely just put it up there, so make sure you get the Instagram handle. Also, a good friend of mine, Marma Fernandez, says absolutely so much value. Another person says, Nettie says value. And then she says, as a mother of an autism daughter, it is really hard for her to go to regular school. So she had to do homeschool. She's
Right.
still in high school for homeschool. Okay. And then somebody else said, she also said, absolutely. Yes. Like everybody is saying that's very important. Don't just assume. Amen to that. The comments are coming in, they're pouring in on Instagram. And, I'm just super thankful that you are able to share this. That this is so important. It's such a topic that really people don't touch on. So make sure, Aaron, that you continue this fight, that you grow this fight, that you start that podcast, and that you continue to, speak on stages all over the world and just really share, because it is super powerful and you don't realize how many people are literally, suffering in silence, right? From not being included.
Thank you.
Now that's huge. So thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Mi gente, that is your Speak Easy with Idylli show today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you comment replay. Make sure you share, like. I put his Instagram handle here. I'll put the website one more time. Make sure that you get that information. Reach out to Aaron. Mi gente, I love y'all so much. I'm so thankful that you guys spend your time here. Next week, we have a whole panel. Y'all make sure you stay tuned. Aaron, make sure you join us. We
I
have a
will.
whole panel of dads. We're going to
There you
end the
go.
month of June with a whole panel of dads, and we're going to talk a lot of father stuff. So here is the Instagram handle again for Aaron and the Facebook. Thank you again for joining us. Have a fabulous night.
Thank you.